Hello and welcome to Missed Checkpoints, the Video Game Book Club podcast. Today we're discussing Mega Man Battle Network. I'm your host Marqus, and joining me today as always are the homies. First up we have Trevor.
Jacking in.
Next we have Dante.
Jacking out.
And last but not least we got the homie Greg. Oh wow. Well, I'm excited. I don't know who. I do know nobody else here is excited, but I'm excited. So this is my game for the month of February. So I will kick us off and introduce it.
Before you do, I have a little song. Dun,
Okay.
dun, 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 dun. Play that like 30 different times in my nightmares, and hey, we don't even have to go any further than this if you don't want.
Well, for those of you that love this game, I got you. So, Mega Man Battle Network is a real-time tactical RPG developed and published by Capcom. It was primarily seen as a way for the Mega Man series to branch out into the RPG genre and to celebrate Mega Man's 15th anniversary. It was created amidst the rise of the collectible card games, particularly with ones utilizing existing IPs. So I think when I did some research, it was like, I think there was Dragon Ball Z. There was like a couple of animes and cartoon shows that also were releasing like trading card games. I think X-Men at the same time had a trading card game. So like they were all cashing in because of the hype of Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon and Digimon and all that. In-game collectible battle chips acted as cards, and players could add or remove these battle chips from a folder, which acted as the deck. It was produced by I think it's Keiji Inafune, and I just had to shout out this dude's like his CV because it's ridiculous. So he worked as an artist illustrator on the original Street Fighter and the original Mega Man. He created the character Zero for the Mega Man X series, and then he produced Mega Man 8, 2 Mega Man X games, 3 Mega Man Legends games, the entire Mega Man Battle Network series, as well as Lost Planet series, Onimusha, and the Dead Rising series. So my man's CV is long. And according to Inafune, the development team wanted Mega Man Battle Network to identify with younger gamers by creating a setting that resembled the real world and a gameplay model that combines elements from collectible card games with the fast-paced battle system. The story takes place in an alternate Mega Man universe set in the 21st century where society and everyday life is driven by the internet. People are able to interact with and virtually explore nearly any electronic device using highly advanced online avatars called NetNavis. Users access their NetNavis via a PET or personal information terminal device. You play as a young boy named Lan Hikaru and his NetNavi Mega Man Megaman.exe, if I'm being technical, as they solve a series of crimes instigated by the World 3 organization, or WWW. World 3 was led by Dr. Wily, and they intentionally infect computer networks with viruses to hinder their normal operations and hack vital information. Rather than sharing the platforming lineage of the Mega Man series, the player controls Lan in the game's isometric outside world and Mega Man in its isometric internet world. The net and the inner workings of computers are displayed as a virtual world in which computer programs of all varieties are interactable and personified in a humanoid form. To progress through the game, the player must alternatively navigate the outside world as Lan and the net as Mega Man, each containing certain tasks that must be completed to allow the advancement of the other. As Lan, the player must travel around the world map, interact with NPCs, check emails, purchase items, initiate net missions, and speak with Mega Man through his pet device. As Mega Man, the player navigates the net, which is represented by a series of branching pathways and nodes to travel to both new and previously visited locations. You can also find and purchase upgrades and fight viruses. Battles occur via random encounters, and the battlefield itself is made up of 18 tiles divided into 2 groups of 9, one group being space in which Mega Man may freely move, and the other group being the space inhabited by enemies. Mega Man still possesses his trademark Mega Buster and can freely transition around his space and fire the Mega Buster at enemies, with the objective of each battle being to delete the viruses by reducing their hit points to 0. The Mega Buster is weak on its own, so in order to delete viruses more efficiently, the player has access to special abilities called battle chips. These are minor programs that contain data that Mega Man can utilize to perform more powerful attacks, summon other net navis for help, or execute supportive actions such as restoring HP or destroying tiles on the enemy side of the battlefield. Each turn in battle presents the player with 5 random chips from their folder, and the player is limited to chips of the same variety or chips within the same alphabetic code. A battle gauge fills during combat, which provides another random set of chips to be chosen from the hand. At any given time, a player may only have exactly 30 chips in a folder, and there are further limitations like only being able to carry up to 10 of the same kind of chip or only having 5 net navi summon chips in a folder. All inactive chips are held in a sack, which may be moved to the active folder or traded outside of battle. Each chip is aligned to one of 5 elements: neutral, fire, water, electric, or wood, and enemies attacked by the element they're weak against takes double damage. Along with the chips, there are power-up programs that can upgrade Mega Man's HP, his defense, or abilities. Mega Man Battle Network is generally well received, with the battle system being a positive stand-on aspect for many critics. The game currently holds a 79% on Metacritic. It went on to spawn several sequels and spin-offs on consoles, mobile phones, and arcades, as well as an anime series, manga series, a board game, and numerous pieces of merchandise. So that was a little bit lengthy, but yeah, I chose this game because this was a game that I think I ended up trading. I don't know if you guys did this when you were younger, but like on Game Boy Advance specifically, I used to trade games with friends. So I'm pretty sure I had like a Colonial. I don't even know how do you say that? Colonia. I traded Colonia for Mega Man Battle Network with one of my friends, and I feel like I made a great investment.
Are you talking about Klonoa?
Klonoa. Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yes,
I was confused
yes.
for a second.
I don't know how to say that. Yeah, Klonoa. I had Klonoa on Game Boy Advance, and I traded somebody that game after I beat it for Mega Man Battle Network. And so I had this game when I want to say like 2002, 2003. So, like a little bit, like a year or two after it came out. And I really, really enjoyed this game. I thought, like, I remember talking to Dante since we had started playing this game, and I thought like I had beat this game many times, but I don't remember a lot of this, so I think maybe I only had beaten it once. But this was always a game that I looked back at fondly and was like, I really enjoyed this game, playing it when I did play it. And yeah, so this was always a game that I was like, I'm not really into Mega Man the series. I don't really have a lot of fondness for the games except for Mega Man Battle Network. I'm like, I love that game. And I think Dante had told me about, I think there was a game, One Step from Eden, that came out on Switch last year that was like a successor to the Mega Man Battle Network series. And so I bought that, and then my hopes is maybe one day we can play that on the podcast, but maybe not. But yeah, this is the only game in the entire Mega Man Battle Network series that I've played. And I think that after playing this, I'm like, I think I need to get the second and third game at the very least to keep playing this series. So yeah.
Hear what Greg had to say. He unmuted himself for a second.
Yeah. So I'll kick it to everybody. So I'll kick it to you, Greg. Like, what is your background with Mega Man? And 2, had you ever played this game before?
So I've played like some of the older Mega Mans. Like, I haven't played all of them, but I've played like 4, 8, a couple of the X series. So I mean, I always liked Mega Man. Like the traditional games,
Platforming.
yeah. And I never played Battle Network. So like, I mean, growing up, I used to, when I worked retail, I would just see kids just buying these games up all the time, and I was always curious, like, are they any good or like what it was, but I just kind of never took the plunge on them. But I knew they were like fairly well reviewed, just never checked them out. So this is my first time ever playing one.
And what about you, Trevor? What is your history with Mega Man, and had you ever played or even heard of Mega Man Battle Network?
So, interestingly enough, my first introduction to Mega Man was NT Warriors, which is the anime that, let me see, I don't know if this game came out first
It was before the anime, I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so the anime was based on this game. It was based on Battle Network. And I had never played a Mega Man game before. And I liked NT Warriors so much. Because around that time, I was like into Metabots and Digimon. So that's, and I like Tron too. So this anime was like right up my alley. But I liked the anime so much that I ended up getting Mega Man X7. And that was my first Mega Man game until I think the Legacy Collection came out and I played the first one. But yeah, that's my history with Mega Man.
And what about you, Dante? I know, like, me and you, we play on a bonus cast like 2 years ago. We played, like, was it Mega Man? Which one was it? No, it was a new one.
11?
Yeah, I think so.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, we played Mega Man 11 in 2018. Yeah.
And I think we both enjoyed that one.
We both enjoyed that, and that was, I think when we were in college, maybe we've talked about it on that episode, but when we were in college, we were like, we had some downtime, and I remember me and you, I think you had like the Legacy Collection, and we were like, we're going to go through and beat every Mega Man. And I remember us getting, I think, up to the third game, and then just, I
think your patience ran kind of thin.
Yeah.
One,
so, and I really did like Mega Man 11, but like this was always like, I think I had played Mega Man Soccer on SNES. Like, I think I rented that. But this was, like, my first real Mega Man. Like, I didn't real, but this was my first introduction to Mega Man was Battle Network. So I had played this before I had ever played any of the platformers.
I'd like to say I might have played a Mega Man at some point, but I think this was the first Mega Man I completed. Because I know I didn't have any of the ones for Super Nintendo. I didn't have an NES. So when I got into, I think, middle school, I did a little bit of emulation, and I think this was one of the few games that I actually played from start to finish, Game Boy Advance back in the day. And then from there, I got pretty big into the Mega Man Zero spinoff, which revolves around Zero, was also for the Game Boy Advance. I think in college was really when I started getting into like the original ones, because I had heard so much about them, but I hadn't actually played any of them. So I played one on my own. Then I think we got together and played like 1, 2, and we started 3. You weren't really feeling it. I played, was it the GameCube rendition of Mega Man Battle Network, which I can't think of the name of that. I'll look it up in a moment. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, around the time that I played the original Mega Man Battle Network was around the time I played the original Mega Man Legends, which was like the first 3D Mega Man game. So it was either one or the other as far as my series introduction, but they were roughly around the same time. And I've played 1 through 8. I think I've played X 1 through 7 or something like that. So I've played quite a few of these games.
The GameCube one you were talking about is Mega Man Network Transmission.
It was named the same thing as the anime?
Yeah. Well, I think Trevor said
NT Warriors. Sorry. Yep, you're right.
Yeah. I think this was because I looked up the series last night and I just wanted to see how many there were and everything. This was the only one that was on GameCube. All the rest were on Game Boy or handhelds. And this was also the only one that was like didn't have a number or like any same, like it had Mega Man Network but not Battle Network in it, I guess. But yeah. So and then as far as why I chose this game, this was a game that I felt like definitely fit the criteria of a cult classic, because I do feel like a lot of people hold this game in high regard, or like look back fondly on the time they played this. And I felt like it was another opportunity. Like, I like to try to check off genres for games that we've covered, and this was like an opportunity to kind of like an RPG. Not to say that we haven't played, because like Barkley was on RPG as well, but just being able to like have some genres to like outside of the normal things that we normally cover, because I don't think RPGs normally they run a lot longer than our 16-hour time limit. So this was one that I felt like, oh, this would fit within that, time constraint, and I feel like you get the RPG elements.
And I was pretty excited to check it out anyway, because like I said, it was like one of those games where I always wanted to check it out or try it because I heard such good things about it, but
You said you was like you. So you saying you didn't like the time that you spent with this game? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess before we get there, so what did everybody play this on? And I played this on Game Boy Advance. So I ended up buying a third party. I busted out my Game Boy SP. I had lost the charger for it, and it's obviously the SP is like the GOAT Game Boy Advance. So I bought like a third party charger and was able to play this game on Game Boy SP.
Why did I think you were playing on a micro?
I have a micro, and the reason why I had played it for, I think I played it for Advance Wars, was because I couldn't find my SP charger, and I mean it's been 2 years since we played Advance Wars, and I still hadn't found my charger. So I was like, I'm gonna bite the bullet and go ahead and just buy a third party one, so that way I can actually use my SP again.
I don't think I could play on the SP anymore. Like I tried it. Like I found mine the other like maybe a couple months ago when I was trying to clean up a little bit, and so I tried to play something on it, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Like my hands are too cramped on this thing. Like
man,
no
you're what a baby.
If I had like for a little bit, I was looking around at like Game Boy Advance mods and like buying one of those and putting like a new screen in it, but I was like, that's way more than I want to do. But
one of the things that I told myself when we decided to do missed checkpoints was like, I wanted to play the game on its original, or like I didn't ever want to have to resort to playing a game on an emulator personally. And I think I might, just depending on like I might have to break that rule, like depending on because there's some games that I think it might just be easier for me to get an emulator. But like I was like, I have this game, there's no reason I shouldn't play this game. The only thing I will say about the SP when I was playing it was like I didn't realize it didn't have an auxiliary jack, so I couldn't plug in my headphones into my SP. I had to just play it with the sound coming out, which I never realized. Like it doesn't have a headphone jack.
I wonder if
No jack
like
out?
you used to have to buy headphones that had like some weird input or whatever. Maybe that's what it was. I can't remember. But it maybe just doesn't take like traditional 3.5, but like maybe there's some expansion port on it or something.
Well, I mean, like it had the charging port and the link cable port.
Oh, never mind then. Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, but there's no auxiliary or no nothing for headphones, which was, I didn't realize that.
Seems like a pretty big oversight.
Maybe. I mean,
You can buy a $5 adapter on Amazon to add that functionality.
Well, there you go. What about you? What'd you guys play it on?
So I just I've got a modded SNES Classic, and I just ended up playing it on that. Just downloading the ROM.
I had originally planned on buying the game so I could play it on my DS Lite, but
You saw how much it cost.
I was very shocked at the cost, and even more shocked now. But I guess we'll get to that later.
What's it going on eBay? Because you were looking on eBay, right?
Yeah.
Was it like 50 to 75?
Yeah, I think the auction I was looking at the time got up to around $75.
Yeah.
Man,
And
imagine...
Go ahead.
Sorry. I was going to say, imagine knowing all you know now if you paid $75.
It's the
Yeah,
nostalgia, man.
I'd probably try to resell it.
I think this game, I think I had saw that this game came out on, I feel like I saw that this game had come out on
It was
Wii
on the
U.
Wii U shop or something?
Yeah. I felt like I saw that. I mean, obviously, I think you're the only one that do you even still have your Wii U?
Yes.
Okay. I was going to say, yeah, it came out on the Wii U Virtual Console in US in 2014. But, like the only way to play this game legitly, I guess, or properly, or it was either Game Boy Advance or that Wii U release, which was 13 years after its original release.
And now that you mention it, I don't even know if the Wii U eShop or Virtual Console or whatever is still up for, like, new purchases.
Oh,
So-
yeah, it's probably not.
Yeah, I ended up playing it on an emulator on PC.
And I did it on an emulator on my phone with a proper controller.
Oh, so you just what controller did you use?
I started with the Xbox One controller, and then eventually I got one of those 8-bit-do Wii controllers, I guess, or not Wii, but Switch controllers. They look like the Super Nintendo, but they also have the analog sticks. If you've seen those.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
And
So you don't have the one with the handles, right?
Yeah, it has the handles and everything. Like, I had the one without the handles, the one that looks literally like a Super Nintendo controller.
Yeah.
But then I was thinking, I'm like, I hate the Switch controller so much. Let me just get this, Super Nintendo 360 Frankenstein controller. And it works really well.
Do you have the Switch Pro controller?
No.
Oh, okay. I was gonna ask how does it compare to that?
I have the Wii U Pro controller.
All right. Well, I guess this will be quick because we have 3 haters in our midst. But, what do you guys? I guess we can start with the lowest hanging fruit. The music for this game. Dante, he so eloquently in the beginning, like he
Tell me I was wrong. Tell me I was wrong about it.
he did the tune for the game, which I think that was the main tune when you're on the net, right?
Land's bedroom and also various other random places that they decided they didn't want to actually make music for.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
It is. If you go to YouTube and just do like Land's bedroom, it's going to be a 7-second track. It's a 7-second track that's just looped.
I will admit it is an earworm, but not in the good way. However, I dug the music when you're on the net, and like I dug a lot of the dungeon music. Were you not a fan of the dungeon battle music and the net music? Any of you guys?
Some of the dungeons were, or at least where I got up to, like some of the dungeons were pretty good, but can't speak for the rest of it.
Oh, actually, yeah, that brings me. So before we finish on the music, so I beat the game. I think I played the game about 21 hours, and like I did a lot of grinding because just I like this game. So I think I would have probably beat this game at around the 15-hour mark, but I would say I at least spent 6 hours grinding in this game. Did you beat the game, Trevor?
I did not. I'm not sure how far I got into it. I do know I played about 17 hours, I think it was.
Did you get to the electric area?
Yeah.
Okay, you're pretty close then.
I was only laughing because I think I said maybe 3 weeks ago in our little group thing, I was like, I'm going to beat the game. Dante's going to beat the game. Greg is not going to beat the game, and he's going to have no intention of returning to the game. And Trevor's not going to beat the game, and he's going to have intentions of returning. And I'm pretty sure I was 100% right, except for I don't think Trevor. I think maybe now that he knows he's close to the end, he might see it through. But I'm just laughing that I predicted this, and I knew. Get red.
Hey, and it only took me about maybe, I'd say 20 minutes of playing this game to know exactly how that was going to play out. I was like, there's no way Greg's going to put up with this.
So, Greg, Trevor, you said you got to the electric dungeon.
Yeah, I think that was the last boss I beat.
Elect Man was the last boss?
Yeah.
So did you fight Proto Man?
What was?
Because you should fight him. You should fight him right.
Oh
after.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I finished that area and got back to the overworld or the real world.
Yeah, ACDC town. Yeah, and then so Greg, you said you played 17 hours, Trevor?
Yeah, I think that's what it said.
Okay, and then Greg, how many hours did you play, and do you remember how far you got?
Y'all are troopers. I made it 8 hours and I tapped out after Iceman. That was it. Like that's.
Oh my god.
That was as much as I could handle. Like
bruh.
It
sounds about right.
I can understand that.
It gets better after that.
How?
When you have to do that ice puzzle maze thing,
That was where I was like,
the ice puzzle
literally.
sucks, but like I like the traffic light sequence that you had to do. That was cool.
Where you outrun a bus as a kid,
Yeah.
and you have to jack into like 4 separate
Stoplights.
traffic lights.
Yeah. Okay. And then what about you, Dante?
Okay. Well, I did finish the game.
I know.
I went into his DMs. I went into Marcus's DMs and been like, "Yo, I know none of these other people are going to finish this game. I just need to be able to tell the full story, so I'm going to finish it just so you can't say anything that I can't contest."
Hate play it.
More or less. But I think I finished it in about 14 or 15 hours.
Did you? You had a guide, or did you do a walkthrough at a certain point?
I used a walkthrough specifically. There's a couple like overworld sequences where they weren't really good at telling you what to do, so I used it there.
The
and
one
then also during.
I'm assuming when you had to find the WW agents, the W3 agents.
Well, yeah, I used it there. I used it somewhere like where you had to find his dad or something like that, or you had to do some random event before you could find his dad. Mm-hmm. And then just pretty much any time you get onto the web is as a whole, because the level design in this, like, I'm not even somebody who harps on level design, but the level design in this game,
Oh my god.
is just, I don't understand it. They had to know what they were doing. They had to.
It's so bad.
Okay. So before we can talk about it, but before we do that, does anybody have anything else they have to say about music? Like like I said, I will concede that the Overworld or the AC/DC town music was an earworm in the worst type of way. But like I dug all the music when you were on the net. And I'm not saying they were like bangers or anything, but I felt like they were serviceable, and they to me they definitely gave me the vibe of like techy kind of music that was coming out in like the late or the early 2000s. Like it kind of it struck me as like the early days of internet style of music, especially the overall or the when you jack in onto the internet.
There were a couple of weird transitions. Like, I think one was like where you're in the internet, and then all of a sudden you get to the boss, and the music changes, and it's not even like boss type music that it changes to. I can't remember which boss it was, but it was just like a really weird transition. Mm-hmm. Almost jarring. But I had a lot of audio issues. I don't know if it was just the emulator I was playing with, but for most of the game, I couldn't even hear audio.
Weird.
And then a lot of times, like, my controller would cut out, so I would have to just restart the emulator.
You were playing with a controller and not the keyboard?
No, because it didn't. The key configuration wasn't straightforward. So I just tried my best to get the controller working whenever I could. I think I figured out like a few keys just enough so I could save the game and then exit it. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I tried to use a controller when I could.
What controller were you using?
I was using a 360 controller.
Oh, you didn't... Normally you can go into like the menu and map. I mean, that's a different story.
Yeah, it was... I don't know. I didn't have the patience to play around with it.
Okay. So
I guess before we jump off of music, I think most of the music is fine. Like, the main battle theme is pretty good. It's just that one track that just really
yeah. I mean, like you said, it is the track that you're going to hear the majority of the time you're playing this game, and it probably wouldn't even bother you as much if it was like a 30-second to a minute long loop. But the fact that it was like a 7-second loop was just annoying. So I'll give you that. One Dante. So you were talking about the level design, and I'll let you get into that and issue your complaints.
I actually want to hear Greg describe it first.
I mean, my main issue is just everything like there's no map, right? And I guess that's kind of like a small thing to complain about, but it's the fact that everything is so samey, and I guess it's just because the nature of the hardware it was built on. So it's not like they can have some,
I gotta take umbrage with that because, like, I just think back to any other JRPG design, and you're not on this like 2x2 pathway 90% of it, or at least if there was like something like that, there was at least elements in the background to kind of tell you where you were. Whereas this is like, it's
Good
literally
point.
a bunch of spaghetti.
Yeah.
Especially like the WWW area. It's just a bunch of spaghetti strings, and you have this very narrow vision of like where you're actually going.
Right.
So
Yeah, and I guess I was trying to like make excuses for it, but then I'm like, I don't remember Golden Sun having like issues like that, and it's like a pretty expansive like RPG on that system, right? So it's like, can I really defend it?
like, I've played a lot of JRPGs in my day, and I just cannot think of one that like, one is that linear, and then two is just like that samey as far as like the tile set and like, I guess, marking out key points.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think they could have put a lot more effort into the detail, just because I know they were trying to capture the essence of being in the internet, and there not being like a lot of background elements. But I think that should have given them some room to do a few more fun things with the level design.
It's really easy to get lost in those dungeons, or was it just me?
I think it was easier when you're on the main network, but I felt like the dungeons, I didn't feel like it was easy to get lost in the dungeons. I felt like the dungeons were a little bit more distinct because there was like a specific thing that you had to interact for each of the dungeons. They had like their specific little thing that you did, and I felt like those were a little bit more distinguished.
I still got lost, and
Yeah, I was about to say there was a lot of wandering around for me, and I think it's just it's because it's almost like a race against time, because you're trying not to get hit by random encounters.
I think that's the thing that you guys are actually complaining about, and it's not the level design, because I felt like the level is okay. I feel like if there wasn't random encounters, then you guys wouldn't have been as salty about the wandering. It would have been exploring at that point, and like I feel like you guys felt like you were wandering and moving aimlessly around because you were getting into random encounters. And if you could just like, I'm gonna go over here, and if I find an item, that's cool, and then I can go back to the main path, and like I feel like that would have been one thing. But the fact that you have like enemy encounter damn near every 6 or 7 seconds, I think that's the thing that is like off-putting for you guys.
That definitely adds a lot to the frustration of it. Like, even if the frequency wasn't as high, I still wouldn't like the level design, but I could probably bear with
Be more
it.
tolerable.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of Pokemon, like the Pokemon main series games. But the random encounters, especially like when you're in caves, is probably my least favorite aspect of like the older games. Like the newer games now, you have the Overworld where you can actually choose like when you want to make encounters, so they're not completely random. But yeah, being in, I mean, this was essentially, I think Dante described it before we started recording. It's essentially like being in the caves in Pokemon. Like, you don't know when an encounter is going to pop up, and a lot of times you're just trying to navigate this labyrinth of a cave.
Yeah.
And I think I take a little bit of umbrage when you said I know you didn't mean maliciously, but the word like explore, discover with this game, because like just the tile set and what makes up the greater map that you're in is so samey. Like Greg was saying earlier, it never felt like I was like, oh well, I'm gonna see some cool thing over here if I run over here. It's like, oh well, there might be one of those little diamond things that gives me a chip, or it's a dead end.
I mean, you're right. It's not like you're getting like amazing gear, but I do know, like, at least for me, when I got further into the net, I was like, oh, I'm just trying to get to this next area. And once I found the path, that's the way I was going. And there was a couple times when I went to an area that I had been to like 10, 11, 12 times. And then I just took the other route. And I was like, oh, snaps, there was a shopkeeper here. And I had no idea. And I could, I was able to buy upgrades for Mega Man and like make my character stronger. And I had no idea because I was like trying to mainline and get to the next part of the story. So I guess I don't mean like you're finding worthwhile like items. It's mostly just like, oh, there's like a person over here, or when you start getting, I don't know if you guys were collecting or getting people's addresses or whatever, but being able to find more ways to get deeper into the net. Like when you get like somebody's, did you guys do any of that stuff?
I did a few battles and like found because I think you get some of them from just battling people. So I got a few of those, but
and those greatly those greatly help like you traverse the net, because now you don't have to work. You're gonna run into less random encounters, because now instead of like, I think when I was checking online on a walkthrough, there's like 14 levels of the internet. Like 14 different screens, and if you jack in from your bedroom, you're start on screen 1. And if like once you start collecting other people's locations and everything, you can jack into a deeper and deeper level, so you don't have to traverse 7 screens to get to the 8th level of the internet or whatever. And like, not to say that like, I think that means that you have less random encounters because you automatically just get to where you needed to go, but you still need to have like in your head, like I hear you guys the complaint about the map, and yeah, like you still need to know how, like where you need to go once you're on the 8th level. It doesn't resolve the issue of like it still being a lot samey and everything like that. So I completely get that gripe.
Yeah, I feel like if they just had more environmental elements that like kind of distinguish where you were, like little landmarks where it's like, oh, it's easy to be like, oh, I passed this one thing, instead of like in the ice world or whatever, oh, I went through this one ice block, or now this is like the 5th ice block in a row or whatever. Like, it's like, it's kind of hard to really get your bearings where you're at sometimes because there's just not a lot of variety in the environment.
Like if you could hit, like I feel like a modern game would just have you hit the left trigger and just do a scope out or whatever, zoom out.
Yeah.
I mean, not even if you could just be like, okay, like if there was a mini map, like or something in your bottom right corner. Actually, I was looking it up, and one of the things that I saw, so I had looked up that, I think I told you, Greg, but like looking up the list of the rankings of the Mega Man Battle Network series, and one of the things that they said that was introduced in the second game was the routes were easier to follow. There were hub areas, so like I think they addressed some of the complaints that people had, and I guess some of the complaints you guys had, but I haven't played the second game, so I have no idea if it resolves the specific issues that you guys had, but it sounds like some of the things were addressed potentially. But yeah, and I feel you guys though, like it does the internet is very samey, and it's very easy to get lost, for sure. Very easy to get lost.
The one other thing I do want to just touch on is, it'd be one thing if it was just the abundant number of encounters or the just kind of, I guess, difficulty of navigating the map. But then they also, for the main dungeons, throw in a gimmick for each one of them. Mm-hmm. And I do not think I enjoyed a single gimmick they threw my way.
Can we talk about the random encounters before we talk about the dungeon gimmicks?
Sure.
So,
sure.
I think that the amount of encounters that you get into is it's turned up too much. And like you guys were saying, like it literally is like you'll be walking, and within 5 seconds you're in an encounter, and then okay, battle ends, 5 seconds you're in another encounter. So I do think the frequency of the encounters is turned up too high. However, you are getting into the best part of the game. Like if you guys are trying to say that the battling in this game is bad,
no,
then
I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna say. Actually, that's the thing. That's where it breaks down for me. I think the combat is actually fun. It's
I
just,
know, and that's why I'm trying to figure out what the complaint is
It's
that
too
you get to
much.
fight. But it's so fun.
Well,
It's just, like,
oh, go ahead.
you learn, there's like maybe 6 or 7 original creatures per dungeon. You get the gimmick, and then you have to fight like 100 of them.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
honestly wish if it were going to be like this, it would be more strategy or puzzle style than like kind of action based. Because like I'd rather go in and see the map and say, okay, I have these 3 specific enemies and I know their attack patterns, and it's going to give me these 5 random power-ups that I've selected from my folder. But rather than making me go through those motions and say, okay, attack this one, okay, maybe my attack missed, and now I have to sit here and spam my my blaster button until I can get another charge. Allow me to strategically place, where I want to be. Like I said, that might be changing like the core mechanics of the game, but that's what I would rather do if I were to do that many encounters. That way, at least it goes by quicker. Especially if I'm like a higher level, I don't want to have to sit here and go through all these motions like for each encounter if I don't have like an escape chip.
I mean, personally, like, I've been playing a lot of Into the Breach while I was waiting for you guys to finish this game. And, like, it takes me longer to do a single turn in Into the Breach than it does to finish a battle in this game. And, like, it literally is like I have my 5 chips. I pick the one. I set them up. And, like, my fights are taking, like, 2 seconds at most. And, like, it's still, like, it was fun for me because I was able to build my deck in a way that I'm outputting so much damage on a single turn that, like, even like stronger enemies, like I'm killing them. Like when you're fighting actual net navies, I'm killing them in 20-30 seconds at most. So like, and like I don't even feel like my Mega Man was like super like upgraded. Like I think I had 3 in all of the components, the things that you could upgrade. So it wasn't like I had max damage or max charge or anything like that. And I don't know, like, to me it seems like you guys, and I'm not trying to say you guys weren't playing the game, but I question how you guys built your decks if you couldn't complete a fight in like if the fight was taking you that long where it was an issue. So I get the frequency, and I get like banging your head and having to fight the same enemy hundreds and hundreds of times. I get that. Yes. But
Bro, I think
like, it wasn't
murdering.
these fights were not long.
Yeah, it's not the length of it for me. Like, because most fights would, I think on average, like a battle for me would be like maybe, I don't know, anywhere from like 8 to maybe like 15 seconds or whatever, if that. Like not very long, but it's just the fact that you just kept doing it, and then it's always generally the same. Like what, 5 or 6 enemies, and then they all come in like similar formations. So it's like you might get these 3 enemies, and they're going to be in this type of formation. These 2 are 2 different enemy types in this specific formation. So it just got to where it was like too samey, and then I didn't feel like there was a good enough reward for every time I got into a random encounter. It's like, oh, I get a little bit of money, and like that's it. Or like maybe I get like a card or whatever, but like most of the time, like sometimes they're good, but like for the most part, I didn't feel like some of the ones that I was getting were like amazing. But that could just be where I was at in the game. Sometimes they were good, sometimes they were just kind of
like definitely in the first, I would say first 4 to 5 levels of the internet, like the enemies you fight give pretty lackluster rewards. But once you get deeper in the internet, like especially if you're clearing, like, I don't know if you so a couple things I learned is like your battle gauge fills up in 10 seconds. And so typically like the quicker you take out the enemies, the higher the ranking you get. And then depending on the types of enemies you get, you're going to be on the path to get higher rewards. So like, if you clear out like a net navi, like a big bad, in under 10 seconds, you're getting like 20,000 money versus if you clear it out in 30 seconds, you're getting like 500. And that even extends to the type of chips you're getting. So when you're fighting like really big bad enemies, like if you clear them out quicker, like two, 3 attacks, like you are getting like super sick like battle chips, and so like those chips are gonna do more damage. So I don't know, it's just like everything in this game rewards you moving super fast and like taking out stuff, and like that's why I was saying about your guys' decks, because it's like I was able to like stack like these 4 attacks that each did 80, and I'm like I like, and plus with my charge, like I'm doing like 400 minimum on my first attack with those, you know, and like I had chips in my deck that were doing 150, and I had like 6 of those in my deck, and it was just like I could stack my deck. I was even doing the alphabet as well, and I think partly of this was because I really enjoyed the battle system and I did grind out. So like my deck, I had like only like 6 alphabetical numbers in it, and so even though I had like
That's too many.
What'd you say?
I said that's too many.
No, it wasn't, because like I mean, I could heal, steal something, and also do damage with the, you know, like all on the same turn, because like they were all like cross. I don't know. It's just
I'm saying like you need to keep it at like 4 or 5 to
hey
be efficient in this game. Like
hey. Put the game on your SP. Come to my house. I got this. I'll get a link cable, and we can duke it out.
and that's not gonna
see me offline.
I'm just imagining people still doing that right now and playing this game. Like, man, this game is my life right now. So every weekend we're linking
Going
up
to tournaments. Nah, but like I don't know. It to me, I think the far and away the best thing about this game is the battle system. And I think that you guys, I would feel like you guys agree, like that is the thing about this game that like stood out. And I get the complaint that like, oh, we're fighting the same enemies and, you know, like we're fighting them too much, but it's just like
I don't think it's even that for me, because like I said, I'm a huge fan of Pokemon, and I think this game takes cues from that approach, as far as encounters, and you battle the same Pokemon over and over in that game. So for me, it's not the repetitiveness of it. It's just that along, you know, coupled with the level design and trying to get through, you know, different maps. I think that's what makes it a little bit tedious. I don't know.
It's like if they had Repel in this game, you still wouldn't like this game.
I don't know. I think I like it. Like I was, when I first started this game and you first go into the internet, I was expecting there to be like sections of the game or sections of the internet where there are no encounters. Like maybe there's a rest area. Like I know that after each encounter you get all your health back. I think that's one of the good things. That's one thing Pokemon doesn't do.
So let me just say that's where you're wrong. You've been on the internet. There's no safe space on the internet.
Wait, what?
There's no safe space on the internet.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You're gonna get flamed anywhere.
I just want, like, even if it's like around merchants, because I don't think it's consistent enough to say, okay, every couple of intervals you'll have a merchant or some type of NPC here, or like a rest area to stop and jack out. But I don't know. Maybe I'm asking for too much.
Kind of on an opposite note, like I would have preferred the battles to be longer. Like I don't enjoy going into an encounter, hitting A, and then immediately just being done with it, because that's just a waste of my time.
I would
And that was
enjoy
a
them
lot
being
of battles in
longer
this
if
game.
the rewards were more worth it.
Right. That's kind of where I'm at with it.
So like armchair game designer, like what would have been better rewards? Like what would have been like, this is worthwhile?
I think the game would have benefited from having just a traditional level up system versus you doing it, where you have to get these power ups and get that type of stuff. I think it would have been better if it was just XP. I mean, to me, because at least it feels like you're making some incremental progress, even if you keep running into random battles.
Because you are essentially grinding.
Yeah.
By doing this, but you're not.
So they turn down the frequency of the grinding and then give you more XP, and then you use the XP to upgrade your character.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, I think if they did add an experience system into it, they wouldn't even need to turn down the frequency of encounters, because then you're getting a benefit for these encounters.
See, I'm okay with like the overall leveling process for the most. Like, I don't think it's great that you have to pay to win, so to speak, as far as like, okay, I'm going to buy my upgrades. But that wasn't really my thing. My thing was like, I think the chip system as it is kind of fundamentally broken and discourages the player from actually experimenting in a lot of ways, because like essentially all the chips have a letter associated with them, A through T or something like that. And the thing, like, as a kid, I would have been stupid and not realized this, but as an adult, I came to the conclusion, I can only get 5 chips per turn. I need to make all these chips as much the same letter as possible. So, like, 90% of the game, I just use, like, 3 or 4 letters. And anytime I got a chip, no matter how cool it was, if it wasn't associated with one of those letters, I'm like, well, this is dumb, because I'm not going to be able to use a majority of my loadout, and I'll just end up shooting my buster for the majority of the turn.
I think that's bad deck building, but that's just me.
No, I completely agree with Dante. Like, especially along the lines of, younger Trevor playing this game, I would not have even considered that. Like, especially as far as the strategy of building the deck, I would have just been like, man, this ability's cool, let me throw it in there. Because I think there was actually one point where I combined like specific chips, and it gave me like a rare chip or something like that, but I didn't know how to use it. I think I combined like steel with 3 different sword attacks, and it gave me like a B sword or something like that. I don't know if y'all ever got that with like a combination of different chips.
Nope, I never got a single one of those. I might have gotten one combo at some point.
But yeah, I didn't know how it worked, so I probably didn't even use the attack correctly. But yeah, I think I took the same approach as Dante as far as building a deck, and actually taking the time to see like how this system works.
See, I think that like you guys you were mid-maxing, but in like a different way than I was, because like I said I had like 6 different letters or whatever. So Dante said I was building my deck differently than he was, but like I was all about removing tiles from the enemy, and so like kind of keeping them stuck on one area, so then that way they couldn't get close to me, and I could just focus on just shooting them with the Mega Buster. So like I had a lot of the Quake ones, because especially once I got like the Quake 3 attack, so it basically focused on one block, would crack it once it landed, and then remove, if somebody moved on it and then moved off, it would remove that tile, and it also did damage on a cross, the tile above it, below it, and to each side of it. So like I was getting 150 damage on 5 of the 9 tiles. And so like I would just do like 3 of those, and they just would lose, like, especially when you're fighting enemies that don't move forward, they just move, up and down on one row. And then I had a bunch of I think I said that you could have 5 unique net navi chips, and I think I had 3 of the Gutsman ones, because like he would just pound the ground and crack everything, and once somebody moved off of a tile, it would disappear. So like my entire game plan was removing tiles from people and just being able to like trap them on one tile and just be able to just shoot them to death. So like I had a completely different strategy than you guys did, but my deck was set up in a way that best allowed me to do that.
I just want to make a side note real quick. The chip system is also like one of my biggest gripes about this game. This game had so much potential to be cooler, because if you've ever watched NT Warrior, like the chips changed Mega Man's appearance. I don't know if it did that in any other Mega Man game, but that was one reason why I liked NT Warriors, because every upgrade he got like changed his physical appearance. Which
I'm pretty sure it does that in the later games, at least like for some stuff.
So yeah, that was like a missed opportunity in my eyes, because I was like, man, this game is about to be super cool, just like the show. But nope. I'm gonna send you, man.
I mean, I get it. Like, yeah, it's cool to see your character physically change appearance based on how you have them set up. What about you, Greg?
Oh, what were you saying?
Just like how you built your deck.
I mean, I tried to mash it up by, what is it called? The letter type. I forget what they call it. I tried to do that. I'm pretty sure I wasn't super optimal about it. I only got I felt like half the time I would get like a good roll where I would have something that I could at least combo with, but most often, a lot of times, like my first roll was pretty whack. I had to go with like whatever the best attack was out of it, or I had to just pass and like hope on the next roll I got enough stuff that I could use on the next one. But yeah, and it could just be I just wasn't great at building decks, so that that might be on me, but that was definitely an issue I was running into.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
For me, my deck was set up that I could do like damage on multiple tiles. So it was just like, it wasn't even, not necessarily that I had to aim, but it was just kind of like, okay, I have this sword, it goes three rows deep. So it doesn't really matter. Like if I swing it, it's going to hit the three back rows, because that was one of the things that I ran into with some of the cannons. I liked using the cannons, but they only attacked or hit people in the front row, and I was just like, I need to make sure that I'm outputting as much damage. So I guess that's kind of how my deck was built, was like doing the most amount of damage to the most amount of squares and trying to remove as many tiles from my opponent, basically, restricting their movement as best I could as well. So I had like a bunch of steals. I had ones to crack their side of the field. I had some like homing, like I had Proto Man and Skull Man, so those homed in on enemies. So like I didn't even have to worry about aiming them or anything either. So yeah, like it was just about like how are you gonna get this work?
And the answer to that is you get Big Bomb, which is a 9x9 attack if you use it in the middle square, and you stack up on those.
See, I didn't have enough of those, so like
that was the one thing I grinded for.
Yeah. So like I didn't have enough of those, so I was just like, oh crap! Like I had like 2, and I was just like, I wanted to try to be able to stack, if not by letters, then by names. So I didn't want to have like 2. I tried to have 5 of everything in my deck if I could. And yeah, I will say, Trevor, you were talking about the way Mega Man looks. I don't know if any of you guys got them, but the armors in the game, there was like 4 different armors. You could have wood armor, fire armor, aqua armor, and I guess neutral armor. And they didn't change any of your appearances, but they helped you be more resistant to damage of that type.
It seems like they did that in later games, from what I'm reading.
Like changing the appearance, yeah. Like one of my complaints, I guess my complaint battle wise was like, I don't think they gave, like, I wish they had more non-neutral enemy types and attacks. It seemed like majority of your moves that you got were neutral, and there was maybe 1 or 2 fire attacks or 1 or 2 wood attacks. So like I didn't feel like they introduced this Pokemon-esque kind of like weakness based on the element, but I don't feel like it was like. I feel like it was inconsequential for the most part.
Yeah, they definitely should have introduced that earlier in the game because that probably would have gotten me hooked a little bit more. Like maybe I wanted to tech out my deck so that it was all fire type, or specifically for a particular boss that I wanted to be.
I was gonna say the problem with that is like there's not enough of a reward of using like a elemental attack for the most part. Like you use it and it says wood or it says fire, but I never really
I think
it
does,
wasn't like I was getting a lot more damage from it or something.
I remember when I was playing the ice level, and I bought that electric sword attack from the merchant, and I used it on one enemy, and it took him out in one turn.
Yeah, it does double damage. Like I had a fire attack that I would do on the Woodman Net Navi, and it would do double damage, and so like I kept it in my deck, but like. Kind of like what Dante was saying, it doesn't like kind of behoove you to build like a fire deck or to build an electric deck because
it only allows you to store one deck.
Exactly, yeah. And like that makes sense when you think about like how hard it is to get 30 chips. Like you're not necessarily getting chips every turn, and then on top of that too, like it would take a lot of grinding in order to get like an element specific type of deck.
The chips are digital. You just need to download the chips per battle. So just like allow me 3 different loadouts and I just have access to all my chips.
I mean, I don't disagree with you. I wish they did that, but
I'm 99% sure they probably introduced that in 2 or 3.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet that they introduced multiple or being able to have different decks in a later game because it definitely seemed like it was missing in this game, and I was just like, oh, I wish I could, because I hated having like when I took a move out of a deck, and I was just like, I don't think I'm ever going to use this move again. And it's just like, I would have definitely put this in a side deck and have like a different kind of themed deck or whatever, where I had like, my deck was like, removing tiles. But then if I had another deck that was just like a different theme, I definitely would have used some of these attacks. And then also like later on in the game too, when I was getting strong attacks, but they were element specific. And if I only had 1 or 2 or 3 of them, it was just like it's not worth it at this point for me to experiment with this ability, even though I want to try it and see what it does. I'm not going to put it in this main deck because my main deck that I have is like fine-tuned and built to be this way. But if I could throw it into some side deck and just be able to experiment with it and see what I could do, then maybe it would like reward like testing things out.
Did we talk about the best part of this game?
Oh, we just finished talking about the battle system. Was there something else you wanted to add?
I think the variety of enemies is really good.
I mean, you're not wrong, but you want to expand on that?
So basically, throughout each level, the first one, or I won't even go to the first one, but like as you progress, the enemy types change. And based on like some of the levels, like the ice one, you run into a lot of water enemies because you're in like a waterworks facility. Yeah. And so you run into a lot of water type enemies. And then there's one level where you run into fire type enemies, and sometimes it combines them with water enemies. But I think even with all of the encounters, it makes you want to progress just so you can see different types of enemies, if that means anything.
I mean, I do think that the enemy design is really good, and there is like like you're saying, there's good variety amongst the different worlds. But
I like the not only the enemy design, but just like the way they attack and like what they do. But I guess that goes into design as well, like their attack patterns and just the way they move, like, and then also where they have like multiple versions of the same enemy, like they're like ranked up versions. It kind of made me think of Shoot, what was the fighting game? The parry game we played?
Oh,
Pacifist.
yeah.
Pacifist. Yeah, and it made me think of that, where it was like, oh, this enemy does this thing. Oh, now you're fighting it and it's a different color. Okay, crap, this is going to be a little bit different. What's going on? And then, and like, so you would see this one character model, but he had like 4 different color patterns, and so you knew that the different color patterns were like a higher ranked version of the previous one or whatever. And they did that in this game. With almost all the enemies, there was like those digger. I don't know Mega Man enemy types, but what are the ones with the helmets on their head with the Medguard?
Medguard.
Yeah,
Is that
so
their
like,
name?
I don't know.
I know that was what they dropped.
The chip, yeah. But like, so they had the shockwave attack that they did, and it would do an attack, and so the basic ones, they were always up. So even though they had a helmet, it was inconsequential. And then they had a higher ranked one of it that when it wasn't attacking, it was underground, so it couldn't take any damage. And there was just like, that was one example. There was another enemy that they were the ghost that when you were on the same row as them, they would teleport to a different row. And so the very basic one, I think, had like 50 or 60 or 100 HP. And then the next one up had 120, but it had an ability to also heal enemies for 50 HP. So like just different little things that they tweaked about how these enemies played, I thought was really interesting. And they had different drops, and I don't know, I really dug even when you're fighting like the same enemy, it like they had like different versions of those enemies. So I really dug it.
And it created like some really interesting combinations, like whenever they used specific enemy types like at the same time during an encounter. It made some really interesting battles that way.
Yep.
Especially when you got to the ones with like the rain cloud. Like there's certain ways you have to dodge enemy attacks.
The dashing birds, like the normal one just dashed in a straight line, but then the next level up one did it was a fire bird, and so like it left a fire path, and then once you moved over that path, you were taking damage.
One thing I will say is I also found there's like a little bit, like the game felt a little sluggish in some ways, like moving from tile to tile, and it kind of was annoying at times.
I don't know. I didn't have an issue with it.
There's a little bit of a
sounds like an emulator to me.
Oh my gosh!
I think it's more of
it's
like
a fraud. Everything
like your hit frame, because I kind of took advantage of it on enemies.
I don't know, like,
or your hitbox, but I didn't have too much difficulty with it. But I did notice there was a little bit of lag as far as like the frames.
I didn't really run any issues with that.
Did you guys have? I guess we can kind of start wrapping up. Did you guys have? What was your like standout battle chips? That was one of the questions I had written down.
Big Bomb.
Big Bomb.
Yeah, I don't think I got far enough to get some of the really crazy stuff, but like the one where you throw it and then like the big stone.
Yeah, Quake. That was the Quake one.
That was pretty good. The pink version of the Medguard things, the shockwave you would get from them was pretty good. It came in clutch. I got Roll. That seemed pretty good.
Yeah, what she healed.
Yeah. Trying to think of some other ones. I guess those are kind of like the main ones that really came through for me for the most part.
What about you, Trevor?
I don't know if I have a favorite. I like the Quake one. I used Roll a lot. Roll and Roll 2. And of course I was always trying to combine all of the sword attacks with steel. So I would just basically steal as many tiles as I could, and then just roll up on them and get to swinging.
Yeah, I think for me, Quake was probably like my favorite. The Quake level 3 was my favorite like normal attack. And then I had the Knight Swords were pretty fun too because they hit 3 tiles deep. And then as far as Net Navi specific ones, like I really like the Guts Man one because like that tied directly into my. I think every time I've ever played this game, that was like always been my strategy of like trying to suffocate and trying to take as much movement away from my enemies as possible. So that was always like my preferred gameplay style.
So I just sent y'all the list of combos that you can do, and I guess it's whenever you use. Oh, never mind. They have some that are combinations of different attacks, but there's a lot of them for using the same attack consecutively, or combining like the same chip.
The thing is, the way this game sets up how chips are given to you and how they're, I guess, refreshed turn per turn makes most of these just like, I'm not going to wait 5 turns to actually set one of these up where I get like KLMNO of the same chip.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily that, but when you receive chips, you can either use chips of the same letter or the same attack type. And so I think if you're not paying attention to the letter type when you're building your deck, you can just put a bunch of the same attack type chips in your deck. And so that would give you. I don't think you need all of those though.
Like, say you have cannon A and you have like there's cannon A, B, C, whatever. Like if you have 3 cannon A's, you're not going to get one of these powerful combos. You actually have to have A, B, and C.
No, I think
I know this because I had like multiples with the same letter, and I never got like Z cannon.
Because I want to say that's how I got the one with the sword. Maybe this is for a different game. B sword. Oh, never mind. It does have 3 times sword S. So I'm pretty sure that's what I used.
Yeah, there might be an edge case where it's like 3 of the same one, but just looking at this list really quickly, like most of them require you to have separate letters of the same chip.
Well, and then that's something they don't really teach you in the game. It's like, hey,
they call it out, but they never like explain how to do it. So like I was aware of it, but I don't think I've ever in my ever playing this game have I ever even like I'm gonna try to do this thing. It just never organically happened for me, so I just was like, I ain't gonna worry about it.
Yeah, and I only got it that one time in my play.
Yeah, like I was like more trying to like in my playthrough, I was like, I'm gonna try to collect all of the chips and like try to clear up my Chipodex and just try to get everything. But then even that, I was like, one of the things I will say is after I beat the game, I was like, I had the brief like idea in my head, like I'm gonna keep playing this and try to get some chips or whatever. And I honestly, I didn't have any desire to like. I don't want to say keep playing, but I was just kind of like I'm good. Like I don't really want to do that. So sure, you guys are right. This game is boring and it sucks. Because I'm cheerleader number 1, and I was just like, I'm not really looking forward to having to grind out this thing because like I just really want to do this thing, and I know it's going to be a big slog in order to do it, so I'm just not going to do it. What were you about to say?
I honestly forgot.
Okay.
But I did want to talk about some of the Overworld character designs.
Okay.
What did you guys think of Generic Kid A?
Oh yeah, that. It's like there's really not that many NPCs in this game. They didn't have to go like full anime with it.
Wait, I don't know what you're talking about. Generic Kid A.
So
like the little boy.
There are like non-essential characters or non-essential NPCs in this game, and if you look at their profile avatar image, it's like a really generic picture. They almost look kind of derpy.
Oh yeah, I get what you're saying.
Whereas like essential
Your
NPCs
character.
are more detailed. Like you can tell they're a necessary character.
It was before I really thought about graphics in the way that I do now. But I remember even as a kid, I remember seeing that character and just being like, oh, this doesn't look great.
Why'd I do that man like that?
It's like watching anime and you see all the people in the crowd at the tournament.
I wonder if he appears in the anime. He has to.
Yeah, you don't.
Wait, there's an actual anime based off this?
Were you not paying attention when Trevor was like,
That's the best part of this game, is the fact that there's an anime based on it.
Didn't you know Marcus is an avid anime lover?
Yeah,
Marcus, you need to watch this.
Didn't you know
This is
that?
the only way this can be justified.
I love anime.
I will say the anime doesn't have the best ratings. If you
wonder
Marcus,
why.
if
It's
you
not as good as
if
the
you
game.
do love this game so much and decide to go back, get
Like,
some more
oh
content.
man, this anime.
Because I think
is
they
so bad.
said when I was looking at all of the content for this game or for this specific I don't know what you call it, subset of Mega Man, but the manga, the anime, and the game all have different storylines. Like none of them are the same.
Well, that's probably for the best, right? So then you're not like just because I'm assuming that they want you to play the games, and they don't want you to like know what's happening. They have to keep that part interesting, right?
I mean, I guess. Like I said, that
I mean, I'm
the
assuming.
anime doesn't necessarily have the best ratings, but it was like one of those Saturday morning cartoons when it was like, okay, I'm gonna watch this, because I'm gonna be watching, the show before it and after it anyway. So I think that's how I got into it, and I just kind of enjoyed it.
It's kind of weird because the anime didn't come out too much later than the game, I'd like to say. Maybe the dub came later and that's why, but I just remember hearing about the anime, knowing it was on Fox Kids,
Yep.
along with like all the that other block of animes at that time, and just never really giving it a shot.
I watched
Just like the
probably
game.
every single Fox Kids Saturday morning cartoon at that time.
Dang.
That was what I did on Saturday mornings if I wasn't at Books A Million playing Pokemon.
The love runs deep.
But I guess the anime has a different story. We need to talk about this game's story because there's some revelations that I need spoiled for the rest of the crew.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so you guys ready for the spoilers?
Go for it.
Go ahead, Dante.
Well, let's go through, just...
I mean, yeah, I'm saying you can start.
All right, well, you start as Lan... What's Lan's last name? Do you know?
Hikaru,
that's right, Dr.
or something
Hikaru.
like that. Hikaru.
And you're a school student, so you're going to school. And I think the first day after summer or something like that, the blackboard gets hacked? Is that how it starts?
I think the first day you have a substitute teacher.
Oh, Mr.
Right.
Higsby.
Yeah.
Huh.
And he locks you guys in, and I think they're trying to let's see, it's like subjugate or like
Indoctrinate like the kids with the WWW.
No, actually, the first thing is the oven. The oven is the first thing. How's this catching on fire?
Because there's been like a news report that WWW crime is on the rise in the internet, so just watch out. And sure enough, your oven catches on fire. Then you end up going to school, and essentially like the dude abducts your like actual teacher. You end up fighting him. Is it Waterworks after that?
Right after that is
It's got to be Waterworks.
yes, the waterworks, the water shortage.
Yeah, so everybody's dying of thirst, so you have to go to your dad's job and
dying of thirst.
take care of Iceman because I think his operator, his kid got kidnapped by the WWW, so he was trying to play out some ransom so he could get his kid back, and in the process, pretty much try to starve the entire town, or not starve, but
not dehydrate, but yeah, I know.
making all them kids thirsty.
Make them parched. Parch them to death.
Then you meet Load Chod,
Weirdest name ever.
which, no, that was like, I think I messaged you about this. That was just like a mistranslation. So Chod is like this teenage extraordinaire CIA dude that's like, okay, I'm the best buster of my age or whatever you want to.
They basically like think of Harry Potter, and it's like they have people that are official net battlers, and I guess they would be the equivalent of shoot, what is it in Harry Potter? Basically, they're people that go out to solve crimes. If anything, like anything that's going on the internet, or on the internet, they have these official net battlers that are to first arrive to the scene and kind of address the issue. I can't think of what the
Talking about like the oars.
Yes. They're like the Aurors, where they're like, our sworn goal is to, do this thing, and that's basically what a net battler is in this game, in this world.
But in reality, he's just Gary Oak.
Yeah, basically.
Just this very smarmy, uppity kid that thinks he's better than you. And then you beat him, and then he doesn't know what to do with his life. But anyway, like, I had to send Marqus a message because not once but twice, Proto Man, his Navi, refers to him as Load Chod. And I'm like, is that his name? And then I'm just going to Google Load Chod. And they're like, oh, no, this is just a mistranslation. It was supposed to be Lord Chod because this Navi he has a problem. That's the best way to describe Proto Man. But then after you do the stuff at Waterworks, is it the electric?
It's the transportation, so it's the bus.
Right, so you go to downtown, and your friend Mail, all of these kids have internet, I guess, metaphor names or whatever you want to call them.
And what's interesting is I had no idea her name was spelled that way, because in the anime it's Meilu, which is like I think it's a translation of Meru.
Like Mary?
I guess. It's spelled with an R instead of a L, of course, in Japanese.
I'm surprised when they dubbed that they didn't just change it to... Anyway, she gets stuck on a bus that's been, I guess, hijacked and also wrapped with explosives.
Yeah. Like, think Speed, the movie Speed.
Pretty much that. And you have to hijack the traffic lights to stop the bus and, save your girl. Then you go to a dinner party with your mom and dad. The electricity goes out, so you end up going online there. Have to go into the worst dungeon of the game. Is anybody going to...
Well, I don't think anybody... I think Trevor
got through it,
but I don't think Greg did. So, but yeah, it's the worst dungeon.
It's so bad. It's just making me mad think about it. Anyway, you do that, and take out the guy that's messing with the electricity. You take out Proto Man, and then you're trying to find the WWW headquarters. Okay, I have to have a small aside for Greg right now. Greg, imagine that you played 10 to 12 hours of this game. Okay? Then it's like, oh, I need to find 3 of these WWW operators so they can give me the key so I can get into, like, the deep web or whatever. Mm-hmm. Imagine if somebody, after playing this game for 10 or 12 hours, had the gall to say, hey, you don't have enough chips. You're going to have to grind. You're going to have to do some more battles. I could not believe. Oh.
That's why I said this wasn't a 16-hour game.
I've never been so mad at a Game Boy Advance game in my life.
Yeah, that would have been, if I got that far, that definitely would have been my breaking point.
I mean, you weren't that far off, though. Did you need to get like 4?
No, I had 48 original chips because that's how it determined things. So if you had like dash A and B, that's only one chip, I'm pretty sure. And you had to get you had to get 60, and I had 48. So I had to find 12 freaking chips and ended up spending about half of my fortune to get like 5 of those. Then I'm like, I'm just going to have to figure out the easiest way to get more chips. And after about 2 hours, I think I managed to do it.
You did it,
Nonetheless,
man. Congrats.
I immediately, the second I even got the inclination that I was getting gated by the number of chips, first I went to the internet just to make sure I wasn't going crazy. And then I went to you, Marqus. Because I'm like, if it was anybody else, if I knew that I already knew nobody else was going to finish this game. I knew that. So, knowing that, I took that time out of my life for you.
Appreciate it.
That. Still regret it, but it happened. I feel like I rewarded some bad game designer that will never even know my name by just giving in to their holding me hostage. Like I was the teacher at the beginning. But anyway, that aside, you end up finding the deep web. You fight, is it Woodman or
No, wait. So this is after the Proto Man. You fight Bomb Man.
is it with the there's Clown
Woodman,
Man.
you fight out. Woodman, you fight outside of your dad's office.
Isn't he the one that mortally wounds Mega Man? Who
Mortally wounds Mega Man.
remember where you find out his whole backstory? Did you just you know what I'm talking
trying to
about,
think
right?
of who the person. Yeah, I know. Magic Man. It's Magic Man.
Magic Man. Okay. You fight Magic Man, and then somehow I think he gets back up while you're talking to somebody and does a critical shot on you.
The main thing that you needed you failed to mention, and this is like one of my, I guess I would say, a gripe that I have about the end game of this, is that you're going through when you get to this last section, the WW is basically trying to create this, I think they call it the life virus. So they've been stealing all these things to kind of build this big mega net navi that's like this big bad, and you're retreading, not necessarily like set up differently, but you're going through the same dungeons you went before. So you do a fire themed one, you do an ice themed one, you do the color themed one, and you do the electric the power themed one.
Yep.
And so it kind of sucks because you're kind of, like I said, you're not necessarily, it's not the same exact level or anything like that, but you're retreading a lot of the same environments and like
That
puzzles, I guess you could say, and that part kind of sucked.
that was like the best part of the game because that was like it was how every other level probably should have been designed, where it wasn't like super obtuse where you had to go, and it was a lot shorter.
I mean, it was a lot shorter, but I think that it kind of highlighted how bad that one was. Is what I'm.
Gotcha. But anyway, you end up getting mortally wounded, or Mega Man does, your Navi. And you go into the backstory of this freaking game, where you find out that your dad and your mom had a child who happens to be your twin brother, Hub. Hub was not well when he was born, and he was not long for the world. So your parents decided to download his conscience into a Navi and make him 99.1% or 99.8% compatible with your DNA, but not 100%. And to revive this abomination... I'm not making this up. I'm not. To revive Mega Man, Hub, your brother, your long lost estranged net brother from another mother, you have to sync your DNA 100%, whatever that means. And in the process, it's almost like I'm trying to think of the tagline of that one movie. It's like, well, if you get hurt here, you die for real. Pretty much that's the consequence of making the DNA 100% in sync with your Navi brother twin. So you do that. Hub is revived, but he still insists on being called Mega Man because that's how you know him. That's, his OG name. And then you go to fight Dr. Wily in the life virus. And Dr. Wily's whole story is that he's just salty at your dad. Like,
No, not your dad. He's salty at your grandfather.
he's salty at your granddad. You're right. So it's even more
So
petty.
yeah, the OG Hikaru or whatever. It was basically like
He had hedge fund money for a project, and it was like, okay, you can either go with Hikari's project or you can go with my project. And they chose Hikari's project. Left that man on the streets.
yeah.
So you beat Wily, you beat the life virus. Everybody's back in town. Chad is no longer in his tsundere mode, if you guys know what that means, where he's hard to get. He's more like, oh, well, I see
I know
you
how
as
to
a friend.
spell it.
And then Mail is being super obvious about like, oh, I like you, Lan, but then Lan's being super obtuse and being like, oh, well, I just want a net battle. And that's the end of the game.
Yeah. Ending was a lot. Ending was a lot.
Still.
So yeah, you guys missed out on a banger.
I can tell.
Basically.
Wait, no, we played it.
But you didn't get to experience it though.
I just wanted. What did you guys think of what I said right there?
That sounds amazing.
Now you're gonna go back, right?
You know what? This does have similarities to another Marqus classic game, Bionic Commando, where the arm was his dead wife.
Hey, what can I say, man? You know, I know how to pick them. So, you guys got. Oh, I had one other question. So, I guess what was your guys' favorite boss fight or net navi fight? No.
I was really sitting here thinking, like, what did I enjoy that much?
Skull Man was kind of cool, I think. Maybe.
Yeah,
I did like the
Skullman.
last fight. I like the last fight against the life virus, but probably my favorite straight up fight. I really like fighting Proto Man the first couple times because I didn't know how to beat him and he was wrecking me. Because I think you were experiencing that too, weren't you, Dante?
Yeah, I got real salty once. So you fight Proto Man immediately after fighting the electric boss.
The electric man. Yeah, that kind of sucked. You didn't get to save it beforehand.
Nope. And he has the ability to potentially, like, if he doesn't one-shot you, he can two-shot you if you don't, like, heal up between his attacks. I was like, oh, this is one of those scripted battles where you're supposed to lose. And then I got that game over screen. Oh.
I was fortunate enough, like, almost every boss encounter to get the, I had one single repair 200 or recover 200, and I managed to get that whenever I needed it. I don't know if the game was just like on my side.
Sounds like it. You only had one repair thing in your entire deck?
200.
That's okay. So you had
I
other
had
ones.
other ones, but when I needed that 200, I really needed it, and that recover 10 wasn't going to do the trick.
Gotcha.
I think I only had one recover, but I also had roll 1, 2, and I think of it.
See, I ended up adding 4 to my deck, but like honestly, I never really used them, but I never took them out because I was like, I never know when I need it, but in case I do, I got it.
Nope, the first chip I stacked was Escape. Hey, give me a if they had a chip combo, for Escape A, B, and C, I got that.
I was just thinking of the Eric Andre, let me out of here. So, do you guys got any other questions? Anything else? Any other comments?
You said you're gonna move on to 2 and 3, probably.
I think I will. I'm gonna have to scout. I don't know how quickly it'll be, but I think that I might try to. So like this article I found was from somebody that enjoyed the series, and their first one, they ranked the 7 Mega Man Battle Network series, and they basically had the worst one being the GameCube one. And then the best 3 being 1, 2, and 3, and that was basically like 1 was the third best one, 2 was the second best, and 3 was the best. I don't know if you knew this, Trevor, but they at number 3 they branched them off like Pokemon, so they had 2 different versions when they came out.
I did see that.
So like,
because there was a lot of confusion when I was trying to buy the physical game, and I would see like a blue version and a couple of other ones.
Yeah, so this Mega Man Battle Network 3 is white and blue, and then they did, I think from 3 on, they released them 2 different versions, and I think from my understanding that they kind of wanted to, do the same thing as Pokemon and try to like, hey, you got to battle with your friends in order to get access to all these things and whatnot, so... I think there was only one that there was like graphical differences, which to me that sounds kind of weird that you're gonna do something completely different for one game than the other. But other than that, they're all pretty much the same. I think they said that the one for, I think it was on DS, it was called Mega Man Battle Network 5, and they called it Team Proto Man and then Team Colonel. But then they ended up releasing a double of the 2 together, and they just called it Double Team, which I thought was like, why wouldn't you just do that for? It seems like. Were you about to say, Dante?
I was about to say, can we talk about how weird so Mega Man Battle Network 5 came out for the DS and the GBA. They didn't even bother putting Mega Man Battle Network 6 on the DS. It was a GBA.
Oh yeah.
I can't. Like, who does that?
Capcom. Oh, that was a rhetorical question? My bad.
I guess. But anyway, I posted a separate Reddit thread where it was a community ranking, and very consistently, Mega Man Battle Network 1 was either the worst or the second worst game. It was either 1 or 4, consistently.
Interesting.
Yeah, I saw that.
I think, like, I mean, they're probably wrong, but it's okay.
I do want to amend my my statement at the beginning of our recording when I said, as far as my introductions into Mega Man, I played 0 and Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Hey, that don't count. Capcom wanted nothing to do with Mega Man back then.
Greg, you said you consulted Twitter and they said that 3 was the go-to.
Yeah, everybody was like, how come you're not playing 3? Like, and I might go back and give 3 a shot because, like I said, everybody's telling me that's the one to play. So, but yeah, everybody was like, yeah, don't play the first one. I don't know why y'all started with that, but looking at how long to beat, I think 3 was like, I think it showed 3 is 24 hours, and if that's just mainline, there's no way we would have been able to do that. So.
Yeah.
Said, hell no.
I'm curious about 3, and then I'm also curious about this Mega Man Star Force thing, which I had heard the name, but I never really looked into it. And this is apparently like the DS's version of the Battle Network series. And if you look at like gameplay of it, it's almost like, imagine Mega Man Battle Network, but then they rotated the screen like 90 degrees. So you're looking towards your enemy, like almost like an FPS style, and you're still on the tile system and everything, but yeah, it looks interesting. And people also say that 3 is the best one of those.
I think I'm going to try to play some Mega Man, but I just don't know which one. What's the next one for me? And I think I might have to hit you guys up about emulation, just depending on the price. Because if it's going to be like $50 to $75 for
I think it's the
games,
only the first one that costs that much. The other ones are easy to find.
Oh, probably like a limited, not limited stock, but like maybe it was just like
They
weren't
knew this
sure.
game wasn't going to sell.
Hey, apparently it sold well enough for them to create a whole series.
2 is actually $60 on eBay. I think it's 3 and onward that it gets cheaper, if I remember right.
Dang. Then yeah, I might need to hit you guys up for how to do this emulator stuff because I haven't done it in years. All right, well, anything else No. So this is the worst game you guys played this year so far?
I mean, pretty early. So,
Kind of has to be.
so for me, yeah.
Between the two games you didn't finish, you like this one less.
Yeah.
Dean shots fired.
Hey, I did end up going back and finishing Shenmue. So I did do that. Yeah, I did finish
did?
it. And I started on the second one, but I haven't finished that. Yeah.
Oh, well.
But I did finish Shenmue, so
Okay.
that says a lot about that compared to Mega Man Battle Network.
Hey, Shenmue was
Yeah.
heat. That's not a slight at all. I think Shenmue is the second best game we played this year.
Oh my god.
Oh, I didn't know. Was I lying?
To yourself.
Nah, Shenmue. I dug Shenmue. So, Dante. Great game, great experience.
It was a game and a experience.
So, do you remember if you liked this game when you first played it way back?
I think it was okay. Like, I've said all this stuff, but I'd probably still give it like a 6.5 if I was rating it, which isn't terrible. Like, I would almost give it a 7, but
There are worse games is basically what that rating is.
the combat is serviceable enough that I can overlook a lot of the other stuff. But there's a lot of other stuff.
Yeah, I know. There's a whole lot of chips. All right, and I'm sorry. What did you say for your great game, great experience? Then it's a game, it's experience. Is that what
A
you said?
game, a experience.
Okay.
I give it. I might even bump it up to a 7 just for the fact that it has a very innovative battle system that hadn't been seen before at that point.
Hell yeah! All right, Trevor, great game, great experience, or just great anime?
Yeah, we'll just go with great anime. Actually, it's not even.
You said you didn't like the anime.
I didn't say I didn't like
Don't
the
let
anime.
him-
I said the
don't
anime
let him
didn't
twist
have
your
great
words.
reviews or great ratings. I enjoyed watching the anime.
Yeah, I think he did say Trevor did say he liked the anime.
And I actually have a link for y'all if y'all do want to watch it. All the episodes are on one website. But yeah, go watch the anime. Like, everything I wanted in this game is in the anime. So I really didn't need to play it.
Oh dang! All right, Greg. Great game, great experience.
It's a game, and it's an experience. I guess I'm gonna.
Gotcha. Quick question too for both of you and Trevor. Now that you heard how this banger of a game ends, are you guys gonna see it through or no?
I honestly was debating on whether or not I wanted to finish it, like after the fourth boss, after going through the ice area, and I kept playing, but I didn't. Nah.
I'm good. I am good.
He might delete the emulator.
Wait, say that again, Dante.
I said he might delete the emulator.
Dang.
So there's currently 90 people online watching it. The anime.
Watching yeah. I was gonna say.
Oh, not the podcast. I wish.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Wait, what? I told you this game was a banger. All right, well, for me, great game, great experience. I don't know, like this game, I get nostalgic for this game, I guess. It just, when I was playing it, running around in the town and everything, I was like, oh man, this is like, just reminds me of like when I was first playing this game, and just like thinking back to that time, and I was just like, this is really like a cool experience, and in a different sense to like how I felt when we were playing Shenmue, where I was like, I'm nostalgic for something that I never experienced. And when I was playing this game, I was just like, oh, like I remember exactly, when I first got to this part in this game, where I was when I was playing this game and everything. So it was kind of cool to relive the game or kind of experience the game that way. This is something I hadn't ever experienced before. So that was kind of but yeah, I really dug the battle system in this game. Like I said, I would not have grinded out the game if I did not enjoy the battle system. So these dudes are just big haters. But I mean, I get where they're coming from too. It's not everybody's cup of tea. So if you can, I would recommend you trying it out and seeing how you feel about it. But just be aware of what these guys said, and that might be something that you may feel if you were to play this game. I don't know why you would feel what they feel, but I don't know. Maybe you do.
I'm glad I got to play.
Definitely us, not them.
Yeah, it's weird because like I feel like a lot of people have played the game, but nobody's like really out like talking about it like that. Like I don't really know people that are like, I freaking love the Mega Man Battle Network series, but I do feel like a lot of people have like look at the game fondly or look back at the game fondly. So it's like not something that people are out and about talking about, but at least that's how I always felt about this series.
I
Go
mentioned
ahead.
we were going through this game to one of my good friends in Georgia, and he borderline wanted to fight me when I said, "Hey, this isn't that great. You probably shouldn't revisit it." But then he's like, "No, I'm going to revisit it. Mega Man's the best. Battle Network is amazing."
I mean, he's not wrong. This game is pretty good, but it's funny. Is it one of your friends that I've played Overwatch with?
No.
Okay. Just was wondering. Yeah. So, yeah, I think the majority of you guys us here didn't like it, but you know, check it out and see what you think. You know. Well, with that, where can people find you at, Trevor?
You can find me on the real internet at Lyric Unsung.
He thinks he's slick. Watching Mega Man NT Warriors. Where can people find you at, Greg?
You can find me on Twitter at Boombox Hero, Facebook, and on Twitch at #Magnegro with a 0 at the end instead of a O. I haven't been streaming anything for like the past, been tied up with new job stuff and car shopping. Yeah.
Oh, you got a new job?
So,
That's what's up, man.
so I hadn't been streaming, but you know, hey, maybe I'll bring it back for some good old Mega Man Battle Network 3.
You never streamed
I
Into
streamed
the Breach,
it
man.
once.
I was like,
and like I did have like somebody
Wow, you
pop
never even
in
hit
that
me up.
like I had never seen before and like tell me stuff about the game. Yeah, hadn't streamed it since.
hey man, if you ever want to stream it again,
Lift you up.
I'll be a viewer. Where can people find you at, Dante?
Sorry. People can find me at twitch.tv/awakenedcloud. I have been streaming quite a bit recently, mostly Prey Moon Crash, which is the DLC for Prey, the 2017 game. But I should be finishing that up tonight. Not tonight when you're listening.
Yeah.
Unless you're listening live at twitch.tv/misscheckpoints.
Look at that, man. The professional. And yeah, you can find me at Twitter and Facebook at Potato Salad. Yeah, if you like tuning in to Miss Checkpoints to find out about hidden gems, cult classics, and indie games, then share us with your friends, family, and the not in. Comment on our Facebook page, add us on Twitter, leave us a review, preferably 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, so we can appear higher in the leisure category. You know, we like doing this, reviewing things and just talking about things, hanging out, and it's really cool to hear feedback from people. You know, Greg, when he was telling people he's playing Mega Man Battle Network, and then everybody being like, "Why are you playing that one? That one sucks." And now he knows he should have listened to those people. And so next time, Greg, you got to listen.
Exactly.
But yeah, just let us know what you like about our episodes, what games you like that we've played, what games you didn't like. If you have any suggestions for games that we should play, games that we shouldn't play, you know, we're down to hear it all. So just let us know. Hit us up. And you guys got anything else? So next month is Greg's month for the month of March, and we are playing what 2 games, Greg?
Carrion, right? And
Your games.
I forgot, man. There we
Cadence
go,
of Hyrule.
I got high hopes for both of them.
Okay, and we're playing Carrion
Yeah.
first, right? Cool. I thought about starting it, but then I was just like, I don't want to get too like. I knew like that game. I believe it's relatively short, and I didn't want to like play it so far in advance and then like forget everything, you know. So looking forward to that though, and then I guess we'll close out with Trevor's game, which is Gravity Rush, and that will be for April. So yeah, be playing along with us. You know, make sure you get those games and get ready because we have some stuff coming, and we also I think we'll have chosen a bonus game. We just haven't started it yet. We might. I don't know if we'll do it in March just because we already have 2 games, but we'll see. You know, we got time. Well, some of us do, but we'll see.
I obviously do since I finished.
I don't know what you're trying to say, man. What are you trying to say? Yeah, well, with that, we're Miss Checkpoints around. Peace.